Arguments rise up in the annex. Anne is talking a lot and getting on people's nerves. Mr. Von Dunn is getting very annoyed with Anne, and to make things worse for him, he loses his pipe.
Come here, Anne. It's time for your glass of water.
Talk, talk, talk. I never heard such a child. Where's my pipe? And every evening it's the same. You just talk and talk and talk. Where is my...
What are you looking for?
My pipe. Have you seen my pipe?
What good's a pipe if you haven't got any tobacco?
At least I'll have something to hold in my mouth. Anne, have you seen my pipe? Anne!
Anne, Mr. Von Dunn is speaking to you.
Am I allowed to talk now?
You're the most aggravating. The problem with you is you've been spoiled. What you need is a good old-fashioned spanking.
Remember, Mr. So-and-so, remember, I'm a lady.
Why are you nice and quiet like your sister Margot? Why do you have to talk all the time and you're so annoying and why do you have to just talk and give you a little advice, young lady? And I don't like that kind of thing in a girl, you know that? A man likes a girl who will keep her house shining for her husband, who will clean and cook and sew and...
I cut my throat first. I'd open my veins. I'm going to be remarkable. I'm going to Paris.
Paris?
To study music and art.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a famous dancer or singer or something.
Now look what you've done, you clumsy little fool. My beautiful fur coat my father gave me.
I'm so sorry.
What do you care? It isn't yours, so go ahead, ruin it. Here, look at it. Look at it.
I'm very,
You know how much this coat cost me? Do you? I could just kill you for this.
Petronella, come back!
Von Dunn runs off upset about Anne ruining the fur coat. She does not come back to the group for a while. Mrs. Frank hears the argument and steps in.
Anne, you must not behave in that way.
It was an accident. Anyone can have an accident.
I don't mean that. I mean the answering back. You must not answer back. They are our guests. We must treat them with respect. We must always show great courtesy to them. You don't ever see Margot talking back to them. You have to control yourself. Watch Margot. She's always courteous with them, never familiar. She keeps her distance, and they respect her for it. Try to be like Margot.
And have them walk all over me the way they do her? No, thanks.
I'm not afraid that they'd walk all over you, Anne. I'm afraid you'll walk all over them. Anne, you are wild and self-willed. I don't know what's with you. You've been so impossible lately. If I had ever talked to my mother the way that you talk to me...
Things have changed. People aren't like that anymore. Yes, Mother. No, Mother. Anything you say, Mother. I've got to fight things out for myself. Make something of myself.
It isn't necessary to fight to do it. Margot doesn't argue, and isn't she...
Margot, Margot, Margot. That's all I hear from everyone is how wonderful Margot is.
Oh, come on, Anne. Don't be so...
Everything she does is right, and everything I do is wrong. I'm the goat around here. You're all against me, and you worst of all. Oh!
Anne!
Anne goes to her room upset. Mrs. Frank starts the dinner for anyone who still wanted it. Questions started to rise up whether the Von Dunns should have came along to the annex. To make matters worse, another person comes to the annex named Dussel.
Look, he's sealing the bread.
What happened? Nothing?
How could you do this? Your own children are starving.
Don't be mad. He's just hungry.
Don't defend him. I've seen him saving the best food for himself.
Calm down. Mr. Van won't steal again. Will he?
He stole once, he'll steal again.
Please, just let's live in peace. We've been in peace for 2 years now.
Notice what happened. Mr. Dussel didn't move in.
I want the Von Dons to move out.
You can't put us out.
Peter can stay, but the adults can go.
Good news, everyone. The invasion has begun.
Look at us fighting like this. We should be celebrating.
I'm so ashamed. Drinks are
It is evening after supper. From outside we hear the sound of children playing. The grown-ups, with the exception of Mr. Van Daan, are all in the main room. Mrs. Frank is doing some mending. Mrs. Van Daan is reading a fashion magazine. Mr. Frank is going over business accounts. Duso, in his dentist jacket, is pacing up and down, impatient to get in the bedroom. Mr. Van Daan is upstairs working. In his room, Peter is sitting before the mirror, smoothing his hair. As the scene goes on, he puts on his tie, brushes his coat, and puts on preparing himself for a visit from Anne. On the wall are now hung some of Anne's motion picture stars. In her room, Anne too is getting dressed. She stands before the mirror in her slip, trying various ways of dressing her hair. Margaret is sitting on the sofa, hemming a skirt for Anne to wear. In the main room, Duso can stand it no longer. He comes over, rapping sharply on the door of his and Anne's bedroom.
Hold on, Mr. Duso! How does that look?
Oh, you look fine.
You didn't even look.
Of course I did. You look fine.
Margaret, tell me, am I terribly ugly?
Oh, stop fishing.
No, really, tell me, please.
Of course you don't. You got great eyes and great animation and
A little vague, aren't you?
May I come in?
come in, mother.
Mr. Duso's impatient to get in here.
Heavens, he takes the room for himself all day.
And dear, you're not planning to see Peter today again, are you?
That is my intention.
A deal of time there today.
I was in there exactly twice. Once before supper and 3/4 of an hour afterwards to get a dictionary.
Are you afraid that you're disturbing him?
Mother, I have some intuition.
Then please, may I ask you this much? Please don't shut the door.
You sound like Mrs. Van Daan.
No, I don't mean to suggest anything wrong. I only wish you wouldn't expose yourself to criticism. That you wouldn't let Miss Van Daan give Miss Van Daan the opportunity to be unpleasant.
That woman doesn't need an opportunity to be unpleasant.
Well, everyone's worried about Mr. Crawler, and this is just one more thing.
You know what? I'm going to Peter's room, and I'll be damned if I let Mrs. Van Daan ruin my friendship with Peter.
Why don't you just talk in the main room and save a lot of trouble? I mean, it's hard for Mother having to hear those remarks from Mrs. Van Daan and not say nothing at all.
Well, why doesn't she say anything? Why does she just take it and take it?
You don't understand Mother at all, do you? I mean, she's not like you. She can't talk back. It's just not in her nature.
Anyway, the only one I worry about is you. I feel awfully guilty.
What about?
I mean, every time I go and see Peter, I feel like I'm hurting you. It would be wild. I'd be desperately jealous if it were me.
Well, I'm not.
Really, truly, you're not jealous at all?
Of course I'm jealous. Jealous that you have something to wake up in the morning to. But jealous for you and Peter? Of course not.
Maybe there's nothing to be jealous about. Maybe I'm just taking the place of his cat. So, are you sure you don't want to come?
No, I got a book.
Will you let me be in my room?
Hold on. Well, here I go to run the gauntlet.